This is Blake Temez with the Blake Temez podcast, where I speak as a Catholic layman to Catholic laymen about missional living, wisdom cultivation, and legacy building in service of Christ and his bride, the Church. Thanks for being here. I've been thinking about how essential it is for any couple, for their relationship to last, especially to last through difficulties, how important it is for that couple to have a mission beyond the preservation of just their relationship. And I'll be more specific here. Let's just talk about the relationship of marriage in particular. It seems that there can be a lot of effort and time and other resources spent on improving the communication or the cooperation between a husband and a wife, and efforts in that direction are really helpful. But if the couple is not aligned around a set of priorities that transcend just the two of them in some way, then their potential for partnership and mutual support is going to be limited. There's only so much that you can do if your primary focus is one another. Now, there are a lot of resources out there. I think of things like the 5 love languages and information about temperaments and Myers-Briggs, of course. There's all sorts of ways that we can categorize and learn more about the way that a person communicates, approaches tasks, deals with motivation or lack of motivation. And all of those ways of learning are helpful for self-awareness and for other awareness. But again, they're just a start. They can be used for developing an awareness just not of the other person for the sake of that insight, but for the sake of understanding how that person approaches goals, approaches a life mission beyond just their personal satisfaction or their personal happiness, which again, essential, right? That there's kind of that happiness in mind, and that it's not out of the picture entirely, but that it's oriented towards something larger. Some of my thoughts here are being provoked by a book by Francis and Lisa Chan called You and Me Forever, Marriage in Light of Eternity. And I've not read the book in its entirety. I've simply read some of the introductory passages. But it seems like they make a big deal about the marriage relationship being one of the many things that is preparation for eternal life. That there are ways that a couple can be happy in this life, and that those can be good, but they take second place to the ways that a couple can configure their relationship such that the benefits, or how can you say this, the rewards, the enjoyment, are primarily looked at from the perspective of eternity. And of course, this is a perspective that is unique to couples with a shared understanding of eternal life, of life beyond death, and that type of thing. So it's a natural fit for Christian couples who believe in heaven, life with God beyond death, the resurrection of the body, and those other things that are essential to Christian belief. And with all of that in mind, I think that the tribulations that come in a marriage, whether it's simple miscommunication from time to time, or major disagreements about career or extended family, or some things that can really rock a relationship to its foundation, such as tragedies like the loss of a child through miscarriage, or major illness of one of the partners. And all of those trials and tribulations gain some perspective when viewed through the light of eternity, right? That they take on a different tone if your relationship is not merely based in what can be accomplished in the present life, but what are we going to be enjoying together in the life to come. And in that way, any suffering that comes unexpectedly can be a part of contributing to the ultimate good of eternity. And in the Catholic tradition in particular, we have the concept of like salvific suffering, the type of suffering that unites us more closely to Jesus, and that can not explain away, right, any evil or any misfortune that comes to us in our life. The difficulty of those questions about suffering and evil still remain, but they can provide a way of making sense of how a temporary suffering is meant for something good in the long run, in a mysterious way. And so those are some thoughts about having a mission beyond simply the maintenance of the relationship, and further yet, having a mission that is oriented towards eternity, so that the temporary accomplishments and also the sufferings of this present life do not overwhelm the relationship as becoming the point of focus, that things remain in perspective and are handled, evaluated appropriately. So this has bearing on any mentorship that you might do with young men, any ministry work, any missionary work, when preparing them for the ultimate significance of their calling in life, if that calling is marriage. If one aspect of that calling is to be married, especially for some young men in particular, especially in a dating scene where things are particularly difficult, finding someone and getting married, can become like a major preoccupation. And some of that is understandable. Some of it's to be encouraged, so that that challenge of finding someone can be taken on with the right amount of motivation and eagerness, but helping them keep things in perspective, in the light of eternity, in the light of mission, so that they're setting themselves up for success in that relationship by already having a sense of what perspective they'll need in order to make it thrive. In any case, as always, thank you for your time and attention. God bless you, and if you are among the married, God bless you in your marriage, and peace. If you're a young Catholic man or a mentor, missionary, or minister who works with them, or even just a concerned figure in their life, a parent, uncle, whoever it might be on the lookout for the release of a short guide that I'm putting together called Brothers by Blood: How to Forge a New Path for Catholic Manhood. In it, I'll expand on some of the topics in this podcast and give you some points of reflection to see about how you can be a part of a movement that empowers men and brings them to their full potential for their sake, and also for the benefit of the church, and by extension, the benefit of all society. So again, thank you for being a part of this, and look out for more information about the release of my guide in episodes to come.